Good afternoon, everybody. It's a little different venue for us today. I want to welcome you all to this press briefing. We have a couple of announcements today that we're very proud of. One is the age-friendly DC report that we are releasing today. That is actually the strategic plan for how we will move forward, how the city will move forward on this hugely important issue. We have been working on this for a while, and this is really just the beginning because the plan that we have laid out has us over a 3-year period working on becoming designated as an age-friendly city. We are part of the World Health Organization's efforts, and there are a couple of other cities that are involved, one of which is New Haven, and then there are a number of other cities internationally that are part of this. So again, we're pleased to release it. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Bibi Otero, who has helped to lead this effort. Dr. Thompson, we're going to ask you to come up here with me. How's that? Because you've had such a vital role in this. Where's Gail? Okay. The Age-Friendly DC effort is a special initiative that we launched in October of 2012. And again, as I indicated, it comes as a part of the World Health Organization's framework for what it means to be an age-friendly city. We've engaged thousands, literally thousands of residents to work on this effort through a variety of approaches, consultations, through symposia, through surveys, and a variety of other approaches, including getting surveys to our seniors with their meals that are delivered to them. While the initiative is principally for, we have a new term, by the way, seasoned residents. We can find a euphemism for anything, can't we? So that's our newest euphemism. How are you, Lewis? For our most seasoned residents. And of course, our older Washingtonians are very much a part of that. I just heard upstairs, in fact, I'm going to go try to see, there's a person who next week is celebrating her 107th birthday. That's a long time, isn't it? And it's great to see somebody who's still motivated to want to be involved actively in things. The effort has been grounded in agency collaboration. Gail, why don't you come on up here, because you're going to be talking shortly, and you've been the coordinator for us in helping make this happen. We had earlier this year, we had block by block walks, which gave us an opportunity, and I participated in one. It gave us an opportunity to actually get out and see what the city is like, what kinds of impediments exist to people being able to move about as effectively as they would like to move about. The plan itself sets out 77 strategies across 10 domains involving almost every agency in the District of Columbia. It touches on areas like walkability, affordable housing, social inclusion, which is a hugely important thing, especially when you're 107. You want to be able to know that you still have a place and that people want you to be involved in things, to say the least. Long-term care options, and one of the things I just mentioned upstairs to the seniors that were upstairs, and that is we have worked hard through the Office on Aging Services to try to be able to get people out of nursing homes, keep them from going into nursing homes in the first place, and get them out. And I think we have about 60 people now that we've moved out of nursing homes, because there are a lot of people who are put in nursing homes, not because they should be there, but because there were just not the options available to them. That's one more reason why affordable housing is so important. Making house calls for medical reasons, emergency preparedness, and elder abuse, neglect, and fraud. And there's a bill before the council right now that really I think should be moved out. Because we do have far too much fraud and abuse and neglect of seniors in the city. And that bill should be marked up and frankly should be passed by the council. We've had an age-friendly task force that's worked on this, co-chaired, excuse me, by our Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, Bibi Otero, and also President Steve Knapp of the George Washington University. The task force met regularly over the course of the past year and produced a variety of recommendations. I think I mentioned 77 strategies earlier, and that's quite a product to have produced. Last week, we submitted the plan to AARP and also to the World Health Organization. Both of them will evaluate, where we are with the plan at this stage. Hopefully, we'll find it commendable. Hopefully, we'll find it having moved us in the direction that we should be moving, and will help us then with the implementation over the next 3 years, 15, 16, and 17. We also have been selected as one of an elite group of cities around the globe to participate in a pilot indicator study with the World Health Organization to assess indicators of age friendliness. That will be an important instrument to be able to have in hand for people who are trying to assess the improvements they need to make in their own cities, in their own neighborhoods and communities to ensure that we are age friendly. It will make us, allow us to continue to be a leader on this issue, which of course we want to be. We have in the neighborhood of 100,000 seniors, people who qualify by age as seniors in the District of Columbia. And I think we have 77,000 of them who are 65 years of age and older, which obviously means we have what would be tantamount to a small city, and makes it even more imperative that we get this done. So I want to ask Gail Cohn to come up and lay out to you some of the issues in the plan, and then I'm going to ask Dr. Thompson to make a few comments, and then I'm going to call on Mario, because we have a business-friendly part of this initiative, and he's going to talk to you about what that will involve. So stand by, Mario. Okay, thank you. And by the way, did everybody get a copy of the plan? We're down to our last 15,000, so you better get it. Better get it quick. This is obviously the executive summary. Then the full plan is in this document here, and has nice pictures in it also. All right, Gail.
Thank you, Mayor Gray. Apologies. I have a cold, and I hope it doesn't interrupt the flow of what I'm about to tell you. Mayor Gray has been a consistent leader with the Age-Friendly Initiative. You've helped us to raise the voices of residents from all over the city, culminating in the Age-Friendly City Strategic Plan. This plan is the next step, as the mayor described, in a process prescribed by the World Health Organization to transform DC to a better place to live, work, and play. In 2015 and 2016, we will be reporting our progress to DC residents and to AARP National, which serves as the World Health Organization agent in this country. In 2017, DC will prepare a report evaluating its transformation and will seek to join the growing number of age-friendly communities in this country and the world. We had a lot of help developing this plan from the Age-Friendly DC Task Force and its committees. The task force and its committees benefited from information and data collected from individuals and community groups in DC, including George Washington and other universities, AARP DC, senior villages, and other neighborhood leaders, and just folks who heard about, from the mayor about the DC Age-Friendly Initiative and who pitched in to help us identify the issues that are addressed in the plan. The plan raises awareness of much-loved aspects of DC. We were told by DC's older residents about the importance of staying put in neighborhoods where most have lived since raising their families. The strategic plan has goals to make it easier to get around, use improved city amenities and resources, make home modifications, find purpose in living, and stay safe. There are community groups and DC agencies that are committed to working with age-friendly DC on these strategic goals. The plan focuses on commonly raised themes brought forward as we listened over the last 2 years. Housing, affordability, anticipating more residents with disabilities, and challenges for some populations, including LGBTQ, residents learning English, grandparents raising children, and veterans. Fortunately, DC has many people who care about one another and reach out through faith-based groups, neighborhood associations, and villages. That kind of close-by support is important to all of us as we grow older, just as it was when our own children were being reared. Next year, there will be more opportunities for everyone to get involved in age-friendly DC initiatives. The 2014 Block by Block Walk identified walkability issues. That started us towards single-member district age-friendly scoring. Across DC, there are differences in access to services and amenities. The aim is to further equalize what residents have readily available. Age-friendly will be partnering with others next year in another means for residents to get involved in helping one another. We want to identify and engage particularly vulnerable adults in helping all DC residents register for Smart 911 and stay registered. Smart 911 is a win-win opportunity for all to prepare for the unexpected. When we face emergencies like a health threat or the disappearance of a child or pet or auto, it's hard to assemble critical information to get help. Recording and updating pertinent information and ahead of time using Smart 911 will make it easier for the city to help in any kind of personal or citywide emergency. I'm going to hold up a flyer. There are copies of this in the back of the room. I hope you'll pick this up and be among those who get themselves registered before year end. Age-Friendly DC's business initiative gives us all an opportunity to throw light on enterprises that want to attract older customers. Here with us today, Mario Acosta-Vilez, Verizon's Director of State Government Affairs and an Age-Friendly DC Task Force member. He chairs the Age-Friendly Task Force Business Initiative. Mario will tell you about the Age-Friendly Business Initiative. With the help of DC residents, this initiative is expected to grow and become a useful source for both customers and businesses. Mario?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Gray, John and Gail, for the opportunity to participate in this press conference and make an important announcement about the Age-Friendly Business Initiative. First, I'm honored to be a member of the Age-Friendly Task Force and contribute towards creating that important initiative that will benefit many communities in our city. As part of that task force, I was asked to lead what we call the Age-Friendly Business Initiative. And there are three main objectives that we established at the beginning of that initiative in 2014. One of them is to identify age-friendly best practices that businesses can implement to better serve all their customers. Second is to recognize businesses that are today implementing best practices in the District of Columbia to serve all their customers, and to establish a long-term initiative that can continue to promote the best practices in the business community here in Washington, D.C. We partner with the D.C. Economic Partnership, at ARPDC, and many other businesses in the district to accomplish these objectives. And I'm really honored to make the announcement that today we are able to recognize 12 businesses, from a small business to corporations, that operate in the District of Columbia, that are currently what we consider age-friendly because of best practices they implement today to serve older customers. And as a way to not only raise awareness about this important initiative, but also to recognize these businesses, we are going to announce them today and give them a certificate that designates them as age-friendly businesses in the District of Columbia. And I encourage you to learn more about this organization and these businesses and what they do today to serve older customers across the district, in all wards of the district. Some of them are here today, and some of them were not able to join us. And I'd like to first highlight what are some of the things we were looking for in terms of recognizing an age-friendly business. And there were 4 main categories: physical facilities, personnel, products and services, communication, print and web, and their presence in the use of technology, and any other best practices in which we could identify that these businesses are effectively reaching out and serving older adults. If you want to learn more about the specifics of these areas, feel free to contact me or Gail or any other member of the business initiative, and we'll be happy to share that information with you. So I'd like to now recognize these businesses, and I ask you to join me in celebrating these best practices that we have today in the District of Columbia. One business that is not able to join us today, but I'd like to recognize, is Sex Coffee of DC, which is located in Ward 5. A business that is here today with us to be recognized is the Union Town Bar and Grill, located in Ward 8, and is represented today by its owner, Melake Gebre. Please join us. Malek. You can just put the certificate. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah. So I'll ask the representative of the business to join us here up front for the individual picture. Another one that is here today is the Rocklands Barbecue and Grilling Company, located in Ward 3, represented today by its owner, John Snedden.
Thank you very much. We will display these too, because that's a comment, statement to be able to make. Absolutely.
Thank you. We also consider nonprofits as part of this enterprise, and another one that is here today with us is the Center for Nonprofit Advancement, located in Ward 2, represented by Jorge Asturga.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's on silent. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you
Very much. Another small business we're recognizing today is DC Dragon Martial Arts and Dance, located in Ward 5, represented by Gail McDuffie today. Thank you. Thank you. Another business we're recognizing, which is not able to join us today, is the Rene by Body's Unisex Salon in Ward 1. Another company, this is more a bigger enterprise, not a small business, that we're also recognizing today, is Pepco, located main office in Ward 2, and here represented by Kirsten Bowden. Another business that we're recognizing is the Affinity Lab located in Ward 1, represented by Mike La Rosa.
Thank you. Thanks.
Can I do a photo really quick, Mario? Sorry.
Thank you.
Another business that is not here today, but we're recognizing, is a small business in Ward 6 named Catwalk Boutique. Another one that we're recognizing, I don't think is here today, is the Taurus Renovation and Construction Company in Ward 6. We're also recognizing today the Rorschach Theater in Ward 6, represented by board member Skylar Showell.
Sends a great message.
Oh, sorry.
And the last one we are recognizing today, and I just want to make sure people understand I did not vote on this one because of the company that I work for, is Verizon, for the work that our company does in promoting the use of technology in the senior communities and all the different work that we do. And I am honored to accept it on behalf of the company today.
Mario! Are you authorized? Thank you, Mario.
Thank you, everyone. And again, we look forward to continuing this important work and to receiving your support. Thank you.
Mario, thank you so much. And to Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you so much for bringing this to the District of Columbia, Lewis Davis. Thank you so much as well. So we want to make sure that age-friendly city becomes the fabric of Washington, D.C. We want to make sure that we never forget our seniors, no matter how expensive housing gets in the District of Columbia, and no matter how busy we become, we want to make sure that we protect and we continue to serve our seniors, the older population in the District of Columbia, and this is our opportunity through age-friendly cities. So again, Mr. Mayor, I salute you for this. Thank you so much, sir. Romaine, could you just please, Ms. Thomas, wave your hand. Just wave your hand. I want to recognize Ms. Romaine Thomas. She was upstairs and she's down. She's everywhere. That's my boss in the back. She is our chairperson for the Commission on Aging and is also an Age-Friendly City Task Force member. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, sir.
All right, from the media, we'll be happy to take any questions that you may have, and all of those that ran off the stage, you can run back up here now. Again, we think that this is a major step forward, and as each of the speakers has indicated, this is a multi-year effort. The next 3 years will be spent in trying to get us to the point where we're recognized by the World Health Organization as a certified age-friendly city. And then that will have to be, I guess, reestablished periodically in the aftermath. I think given the plan that's been put together, I think we're going to make this. And Gail, I want to thank you again for all the work that you've done on this. Gail has been involved with one of our villages in the city, which is a very forward-thinking concept. I think we have 13 or 14 now, villages, which are alternatives to people having to find an out-of-home placement. It's people coming together to say that folks ought to have an opportunity to stay in their own homes, in their own communities, to the extent that that's possible. And it is a concept that I think will grow tremendously in future years and will be a way of creating more longevity for people and also making sure people have places to stay where they want to be. So thank you, Gail, for everything you've done on this. Now you got 3 years of work ahead of you to work with all the agencies of the District of Columbia to make sure this happens. Okay. Ms. Brazil?
You said you launched this initiative in October 2012. Can you give some indication of why it has taken so long to come to a final plan? And also whether or not you think it's an initiative that the incoming mayor will be adopting and moving forward on?
Well, first of all, I really don't think it's taken that long. I think to do a plan that is worthy of the subject, this is a very complicated subject. And as I tried to point out, and I guess Gail tried to point out, there have been thousands of people who've been involved in this. There have been symposia conducted, there have been conferences, there have been surveys that have been conducted, there are people who've been walking through neighborhoods. So, you know, we're only 2 years out from having launched the planning effort. And I guess if somebody asked me, I would say maybe, wow, you got that done pretty quickly, didn't you? It really is a complicated issue. And when you look at the plan, which I hope you will, those of you who pick up copies of it today, I think you will see the painstaking work that has been done. And it involved many agencies, if not all of them, in the district government, and having to get across those agencies and having to involve members of the senior community and members of the organizations that work on behalf of seniors. So my answer would be it hasn't taken that long at all, and I think we've got something that will go on into the years ahead. Of course, I can't speak for the mayor-elect, but I think, you know, that when you look at the amount of work that's involved, the painstaking work, and the thoughtful recommendations that are included, I can't imagine anybody that would want to start over again on this, but of course I'm unable to answer that question. Denise?
Yeah, Mayor Gray, not having had a chance to read the plan, but is in order to reach these goals, will it be voluntary, or is there any legislation followed by enforcement that may be required, particularly of the business community, the housing community, anything that you foresee or the task force foresees that may require legislation and even penalties if folks don't?
Yeah, it could. I mean, one of the things that we've done, for example, and I talked about it a few minutes ago, was work to try to get people out of nursing homes. That ultimately could require legislation. You know, I think back to my days when I worked with people with intellectual disabilities and try to get them out of institutional settings. And it required litigation, it required legislation along the way. Some of that will evolve. I don't know if you've identified any pieces of legislation that will need to be done yet, Gail, but I don't have any doubt that it will require legislative change and will require regulatory change along the way as well as this unfolds.
There will be opportunities for us to think about how we can do this with more effective legislation. I would say that the areas where we are most challenged have to do with elder abuse, neglect, and fraud, and the importance of looking at the proposed legislation that is currently before the council. But there are other areas in the plan where there will be some necessary activities, and the task force for age-friendly will bring those forward in the year ahead.
You know, I might mention too that elder abuse, neglect, and fraud, we're the only city that has included that as a component part of the plan. People weren't required to do that, but we simply added it because we thought it was an issue here in the District of Columbia that if we're going to do a comprehensive plan, which this is, it should be included and addressed. And that's right, we think the legislation will be needed to create further safeguards for seniors in the District of Columbia. All right, thank you, age-friendly guys. You've been very friendly today. And by the way, for those who would like, I don't know which way you came in, but if you came in other than through the main entrance of the Armory, I'd invite you to go back upstairs when this is over. There probably are about 3,000. Well over 3,000.
We served on 4,500 meals today.
Okay, so 4,000 to 5,000 seniors who are upstairs who, you know, I would invite you to go up and just talk to some of the folks up there. They're having a great time, and they'd like to know that people who are here didn't just come in the building and ignore them once you got in here.
Mr. Mayor, there are a number of task force members present, and we'd very much like to have them come forward and stand with you and receive some applause for
Great.
the work they've done.
Okay. Can we have the task force to come up, and we'll ask Lateef if he would take a photo of them. We'd ask Lateef if he would take a photo of them. Yes, sir. That's sustainability, okay. I'm gonna move over here. Are we gonna move the, well, we got another part of this, so I don't want to, yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna all.
Can everybody get up here?
I'll tell you what, can y'all stand in front of the podium?
Sure.
Good.
Can we get some folks on this side as well? And some folks can stand up on the riser there.
Good to see you.
Okay, great. No, it's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Deborah. Sheila, I'm gonna talk to Deborah about Mr. Manning. Deborah. This is really imposing, isn't it? Of course, I hate to break it to you, but 3/4 of these pages are blank. You know, the other part of what we want to, excuse me, the other part of what we want to talk about today is the ongoing work of our Sustainable DC efforts. And this is the work of the Sustainable DC Task Force and the report that they have produced, which is overseen by our city administrator, who oversees the district's Department of the Environment. And this has been assigned as a responsibility to the district's Department of the Environment. Our director, Keith Anderson, isn't able to be here today because he's standing in for me at another meeting. But Brendan Shane is here, and Brendan has done some great work on this. So I can't think of a better person to be able to represent the department in our sustainability efforts than you, Brendan. About a year ago, I issued the Sustainable DC Mayor's Order to move significant actions of the Sustainable DC Plan, move them forward. The Mayor's Order that was issued actually complements two pieces of Sustainable DC legislation that we now have successfully moved through the council that we're all extremely happy about. And some of you probably followed that. In fact, we had a bill signing on that, I think, down on the Anacostia River just a few months ago. It also helps to complement the important partnerships that we've established on this issue as well, in addition to the age-friendly issue with the business community here in the city. The diplomatic community, which we've had a number of events at, we've had a number of our embassies to sign on to a sustainability pledge, along with our colleges and universities here in the District of Columbia as well. And most recently, we had an event over at Kaiser that some of you may recall, in which we signed on the healthcare sector. I think we must have had 20, 25 health organizations that signed on that day to the sustainability pledge. The order requires the district government to establish 10 task forces to recommend ways in which the government can better integrate sustainability into its own daily operations. And I'm pleased now to announce that after 10 months of work, any number of productive community meetings and a lot of input gathered all over the city, that we've completed a comprehensive report that includes 131 substantive recommendations. Would you all like me to read every one of those 131? I'm glad somebody has a sense of humor in here. The recommendations represent ideas emanating, of course, from the District of Columbia government, the employees in the government, industry experts, as well as the public at large. And by the way, you may want to look at this. I hope you will. Each one of these recommendations includes budget estimates. How much will it cost to get this done? and any regulatory changes that will be necessary in order to be able to move them forward. I want to thank the 16 District of Columbia agencies and the offices of the Deputy Mayors for Planning and Economic Development, as well as Health and Human Services and Education, for working with the Office of the City Administrator and the Sustainable DC team to put this report together. I also want to thank members of the public who came out to the community meetings and shared their ideas as well as their opinions to assure that we continue to listen and include public input. Let me just mention what the 10 task forces are. There's the Green Economic Development Task Force, which focused on creating and measuring green jobs or advancing in green jobs. Green Government, which is obvious. Green Construction and Code Transition. And we have, by the way, some of the most comprehensive green code regulations in the District of Columbia, probably as comprehensive as any in the nation. If you've read that code, would you raise your hand, please? I knew there would be at least one. You probably worked on it too, didn't you? It is pretty extensive. I've actually not read the entire thing, but I read parts of it, and it's extensive and detailed, and really, I think, points us in a direction for many years ahead in terms of what the city will look like. You know, a lot of people don't even know what green means. We're learning more and more about it, but frankly, if we adhere to the principles of sustainability and the green commitments that we've made, our city is going to be in good shape for many years in the future. Parks Access was the fourth task force. Cooperative plant management, and I don't mean plants in terms of the industrial sense, but plants in the sense of foliage. Building energy performance standards, green housing, healthy by design, food access and food security, which is another one of those acronyms that we've invented in recent years, and then health and all policies. I think these recommendations will help the district government to itself operate more sustainably than we otherwise might, and some of them should be easily attainable, of the 131. Some of you will recall that our Sustainable DC plan included 143 actions to be achieved by 2032. And last time I looked, we had actually finished, I don't know, 8% of them. Is that close to right, Brendan? 6%? Okay. And we obviously, the city, over the next 20 years, 18 years, will continue to work on the rest. And they will pick up momentum as they go, because some of them really require pretty fundamental change and inculcating, if you will, that ethic into the way that we operate every day. You know, the overall vision or mission for this is to become the healthiest, the greenest, and the most livable city, one day to be a state in the nation. So I want to ask Brendan now if he will come up and talk to you in more detail about this. And as he comes up, I really want to thank him for the great work that he has done. When I came into office, we had some things here and there, piece here and then a piece there, but we had no comprehensive approach to sustainability. And I called in a couple of people, a person from the Office of Planning, a person from the Department of the Environment, to say, look, we need to do better than this. And we've been working on it ever since. Now more than 3 years since we got this started. We established a vision statement. Never forget those first meetings when we had at the convention center. We thought, you know, we had a room for, I don't know, 50 or 75 people, and over 400 people showed up for that meeting. And then we published the vision statement, then we published the plan, and now we've been working on the recommendations and this task force report, as well as legislation in the aftermath. So, Brendan?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Gray. And in general, thanks so much for the leadership from Mayor Gray on things environment and really all things sustainable. I can't overstate the importance of our mayor using his bully pulpit to move initiatives forward. You hear it on Age Friendly, and it's been the case on Sustainable DC, that
we could make progress. We were making progress. There's people all across the government making progress, but when it's galvanized behind the kind of support you get from the executive office of the mayor, it makes a tremendous difference. And so we all, I think I speak for everyone who's worked on these initiatives to say thank you. I also want to say regrets from Keith Anderson, who is working hard on environmental issues as we speak, but also that he sends his congratulations on the age-friendly initiative, because we're talking together and these things dovetail. Age-friendly, we try to cite it all the time as part of the key elements of the Sustainable DC initiative. So from the mayor and from the city administrator's office, from the deputy mayors, they have put forth a vision that's really shared with the community for, as the mayor said, to be the healthiest, the greenest, and most livable city in what's now 17 or 18 years. It's not that far away. And that vision really has motivated people within the government, to be sure, the people that we work with every day, but across the community, across the business community, as you just saw with the leaders that were here today from Age Friendly. So that's the energy and commitment that you see in this big, thick document that's here today. There is an executive summary, which is much shorter. As the mayor mentioned, many of the goals of a Sustainable DC, they're out to 2032, and these are not simple goals. These are ambitious goals. So the mayor's order last year took some of these goals and brought agencies, multi-agency groups across silos, across sectors together, and then also interacting with business leaders and community leaders to try to tackle some big challenges, because they are big challenges. Trying to figure out how you can integrate green and healthy building standards in all affordable housing for the city. The several task forces were looking at that. How can you cut citywide energy use and the cost of it by 50%? Cut it in half. Same way for carbon pollution and greenhouse gases. How can you ensure that 75% of residents have walking access to healthy food and are also an easy walk to parks and green spaces? Not easy things to do. And then across all of those, how can we maximize the economic development potential, the jobs, the businesses, for people related to all of these initiatives that you see, whether they're in nature or transportation or waste or water or energy and all of those. So I'm not going to go into all of the details. These will all go up on sustainabledc.org today and the various agencies. We are certainly happy to answer any detailed questions about them. Although this is a lot of detail, and we have many of the agency leads that have worked on these are here and are happy to get you connected. I want to thank the city administrator's office, in particular, Jason Eugenberg and David Levy on Alan Liu's staff, the leads, the agency chairs that worked from across the 16 agencies that worked on these, and also then the business and community leaders who volunteered their time to provide really valuable input on some tough questions that led to the 131 recommendations. As the mayor mentioned, there's some of these that can be implemented pretty quickly, and hopefully they will be. There's a few that have been implemented already in the 10 months that this process was going. I'll highlight a couple. We have hired and we have our first green affordable housing dedicated staffer working in the district. She's a shared position. She works at the Department of the Environment, the Housing Authority, and Housing and Community Development with Denise and others. So she's walking across agencies and working across the city every day now to help green affordable housing. And then in particular, other completed actions to highlight at DCRA. The green building team, the green building resources there, the guidance and permitting systems that are talked about in here, much of that is already implemented and is in place when you go over to DCRA. And there's much more to come, some sooner, some later, but I wanted to thank everyone who's been involved, and again to the mayor for really giving the vision and the push to get everybody going. Thanks very much.
For those who may wish a hard copy of this, who don't want to download it or
Yeah,
whatever.
we had that question. We have copies available, obviously, at our agency. It's thick. We certainly will provide hard copies, and we were planning to do it sort of on request. The 10 reports are quite different in their area, so if people are interested, the easiest email to reach our program is sustainable.future@dc.gov, and we can then respond to requests for copies. Okay, sure.
We have all the task force reports in here.
Yep, they're all there.
All right, we'll be happy to take any questions from the media that you all may have. Ms. Brazil?
I had a question about the Green Government Task Force. One of the recommendations is to shift the district government from a paper-based operation to an electronic-based operation. And the example that is cited is Department of Human Services. Do you have an appreciation for the large segment of the population that does not have a home computer, does not have access to computers? And so I only have the summary here. How is this goal to be accomplished, and in moving toward that goal, are you going to recognize this basic
challenge.
fact?
Well, I'll just mention one thing in particular. I can't say that I have the full answer to that question. That challenge of electronic access is consistent across all our programs. So we, at the Department of Environment, administrate the low-income heating assistance program, 30,000 families. And, in that case, we have to have walk-up service available for people, and in other ways other than assuming someone's going to have a computer at home. But in general, we are, across the government, the greening of the operations is a big issue. OCTO, Chief Technology Office, is working with agencies. Human Resources is really just recently shifting so that systems that all used to be on paper are electronic. Same way with DCRA. But I don't know that it's ever going to be the sole solution. Obviously, you have to provide opportunities for people to get full access to the resources.
But I guess my question and concern is, are you going to get to a point where in order to file an application, file necessary paperwork, you're going to have to do it online, and there will be no paper? Or you're always going to have that, that catch-all in terms of people who do not have that ability?
I think, my opinion, in the near term, both options will have to be available to people. But I think we'll see, by the time we get to 2032 with this plan, I actually think that most people will be using electronic capacity and electronic access to information. But in the near term, there is no intent to eliminate that as an option. It's actually one of the reasons why I asked Brendan about having a hard copy available of this report. But you look at what's happening with our students, for example, our students in education. Go to some of our pre-K programs, 3- and 4-year-olds who, with great facility, are accessing electronic technology that we have available. It's another reason why, too, we've done what we've done with Microsoft. Microsoft, as you know, is coming to Ward 8 of the District of Columbia with an innovation center. They will also be able to help facilitate people who may not have great facility with technology now, being able to improve that. Is that going to happen quickly? Absolutely not. There's some people who are deathly afraid of technology at this stage, and nobody wants to shut off access, but I think it's the way of the future. When we get the 10-year-olds now who are 30-year-olds, we're going to see a vastly different experience with how people access information and provide information, and the overwhelming majority will be through electronic means at that stage.
But Mr. Mayor, you just had a press conference in which you announced your age-friendly DC plan and initiative. And clearly, a large segment of the DC population that does not have access or does not feel comfortable doing government business on a computer, just like a lot of people still don't feel comfortable buying things through the internet. I mean, on the one hand, you're saying, okay, we're going to be age-friendly. On the other hand, I just am concerned that this other segment of the population needs to be accounted for, and that we not rush, hell-bent on a paperless society.
Well, I don't think we feel we're rushing into it. I think it's a goal. It's a vision for the future. And when you look at the sustainable, DC plan, that goes all the way out to 2032. My point is that, we've got to make both options available to people in the near term. But I don't have any doubt that as time wears on, we'll see a transition to electronic means of sharing and accessing information. There'll probably always be somebody, who needs to have paper. There are people who maybe even can use, electronic means, who feel more comfortable having a piece of paper in their hands. But that's going to change over time. It's just a fact of life. You look at where we are now. 1995 was supposedly when the internet came along, and we're now not even 20 years out from there. And look at where we are. Look at what people can do with electronic access, electronic capability at this stage. And I was thinking about it yesterday. Imagine, I was a movie, it was on the year 3000. Imagine where we will be in the year 3000. We probably won't even be having this conversation about having, hard copies of documents in our hands, because we'll be so far beyond it. What are we in 2014 now? By 2032 or 2040, 2050, it will be a markedly different world, in substantial part because of the technology capacity that we have. So, yes, Ms. Brazil, in the near term, we need to continue to make sure people have access to information. But it's going to change, and we need to make sure we do everything we can to see as many people as possible don't get left behind. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you, Brendan.
Sure, thank you.
Anybody, I guess we'll go to it's been a long one today, hasn't it? Anybody have any other questions on other issues that you would like to address? If not,
Mr. Mayor, I just, now that council member and Mayor Barry has been laid to rest, do you have any thoughts at this point on enduring tribute to him in terms of memorials or namings, et cetera? Mayor-elect Bowser said she wanted to rename the Summer Youth Employment Program to permanently make it the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program. Do you support that endeavor, and are there other things that you would think that you consider or have heard at this point that appeal to you?
well, there are two things, Mike, and I'm glad you asked that question. The first is I'm going to, through executive order, rename something that I think we know will be enduring, and that is the Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute, which he created back in, 1979. Yeah. We're going to rename that the Mayor Marion Barry Leadership Institute. And then I've had any number of recommendations to come to me just in the days since Mayor Barry has passed away. I'm going to ask a committee of people to work on this, to come up with some principles, ideas, and make some suggestions on what would be a fitting tribute to him, because otherwise we'll be all over the place with this. I don't know if any of you all remember, I might be the only one that has this recollection, but when President Kennedy was assassinated, there were some folks who wanted to change the name of West Virginia to Kennedy. And, it's not unprecedented. Obviously, we have a state of Washington, so we were about to have a state of Kennedy, and it was an emotional reaction, in the immediate aftermath of his assassination. That never happened. So what I think should be done is to bring some people together who deeply care about the vision, the preservation of the legacy of Mayor Barry, and have a vision for that, and let them work on this, and then advance some suggestions that can be considered by the executive and by the legislative branch, for the future.
That's something to be established by executive order. You create this committee?
Whatever's required to create it, we'll do that. We know that the Mayor's Youth Leadership Institute can be done by executive order. Ms. Brazil.
Do you have any idea of to what extent the District of Columbia has paid for or will be paying for all of the memorial services involving the mayor, former mayor, and do you have any idea how much that's going to cost?
I don't have an exact number, and I really have learned a long time ago to not speculate on things like that. But I will say this, that I was a huge proponent of making sure that Marion Barry had a proper send-off by the District of Columbia, because it is a statement about him and is a statement about a city as well. So there were lots of things that I was directly involved in, and I really want to thank our city for having a send-off for Marion Barry that I think was worthy of what he did for the District of Columbia.
On that note, can you speak to what was handled, what was a public responsibility versus a private responsibility in terms of whether it's I assume that all of the arrangements with the security and the motorcade and all that was a public responsibility, as well as probably the convention center, but were there other aspects that were?
I don't want to start listing that, Mike. We'll do a report for you all if that would be helpful, because I'll miss something if I just try to do this off the top of my head. But the things that you mentioned, like the convention center and, you know, the motorcade and security and whatnot, those were responsibilities that the city assumed. There were other things, you know, clearly, let me pick one, like the casket, for example. That was something that was handled by Mayor Barry's family. But we'll try to put that together for you in a fashion that will be more comprehensive and more comprehensible than I might be able to express today. Thank you all very much. Oh,
So really quick, the mayor-elect announced yesterday she's bringing in a new city administrator. Any thoughts on that, and anything you want to say about your outgoing city administrator, Alan Liu?
well, first of all, I really don't know the appointee. I wish him the best. This is a very complicated city, as the people in this room know. We have vast responsibilities in terms of being a state and a county and municipality all rolled into one. The job of city administrator is hugely important, to say the least, and I'm proud to publicly commend Alan Liu for the work that he has done. Alan is a hard worker. He's very bright. He's very dedicated, very committed, and I really appreciate the fact that he agreed to take this on for 4 years, and I think we all know that Alan will be immensely successful at whatever he does in the future. Denise.
Mayor Gray, as we know, the district residents have been involved in demonstrations, reference to Ferguson and the decision or indecision, however you want to cast it, in New York. There have been these ongoing demonstrations. There's going to be a major march here, cast it as a major march, on Saturday. You know, are you aware of any directives maybe that the chief has given her force with regards to how to manage these demonstrations, periodic demonstrations, and what you anticipate on Saturday?
Well, you know, as the nation's capital, we have demonstrations and marches all the time, and our police force is very well trained. Our Special Operations Division and the leadership in the MPD, they're all very well trained in the management of these kinds of opportunities for people to express, you know, to engage in, you know, their exercising their constitutional right. One thing, we haven't had any demonstrations that have had, you know, any violence or outbursts associated with them in the city. One of the things I like to say, by the way, for those of you who don't know it, and that is, in a study that was done, the District of Columbia's police force was determined to look more like its population than any other police force in America. And I think that's one of the factors. That's what community policing is, to be able to have people say that, you know, folks they know, folks they can identify with, are part of the you know, the organized security in a jurisdiction. So I expect it will be well managed, as these all are. I don't know of any particular unique directives that the chief has given to any of our police officers related to this. But, you know, again, we have a march or a demonstration or a protest of one kind or another almost on a weekly basis here in the city. So I think we'll be ready.
On the protest note, Mr. Mayor, so for years, you know, people have discussed shutting down roads and bridges as a possible protest around the issue of DC self-determination. That's never materialized, but it did materialize recently with the protests around Michael Brown and Eric Garner, where you had people blocking the 14th Street Bridge. Given what Congress is about to do to the District of Columbia, is now the time to consider that type of action on behalf of the District of Columbia?
Well, I'm sure you know that as the mayor of the District of Columbia, I'm not going to get up here and advocate for unlawful behavior, Mike. However, as someone who actually was arrested for protesting what was done to the district's budget, who was just about a year ago in sharp protest against the potential shutdown of the District of Columbia, I think people are to exercise their constitutional rights. Thank you all.